So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's a big pleasure to welcome you for this first seminar of the seminar series of UNICE. And we are having the pleasure today to welcome Sergio Acevedo. So Sergio is a PhD student at the University of Santiago de Compostela and is in co-supervision with UNICE. Is a bioeconomist in the fisheries sector, and his main focus is on the bycatch, the management of the bycatch. And here in Seychelles, he's focusing on the value chain of bycatch with a focus on food security for Seychelles. He's working with the Department of Applied Economics at the university, and actually it's his second time coming to put some milestones on his PhD program. He first came last year to present us the broad topic that he's covered by his PhD thesis. And today he's gonna deliver the first results from his paper. So he published a paper last year in Marine Policy on the bycatch trends from the Spanish-owned tuna Purse-Seiners, looking at the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. And today he's going to update us on these results and hopefully receive some interesting comments from your hand, and so that we can initiate this discussion. So his presentation is going to be about 45 minutes, 60 minutes?
35, yeah.
45, 35 minutes. And then we will have a discussion session where you can ask as many questions as you want. Thank you very much, Sergio. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Okay, all of you see the screen good in people that it is online. Okay. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So as you know, some of you already know me, that I'm Sergio, as he has introduced me, and the last year I have come to present the first publication about the bycatch in the Indian Atlantic Oceans, as Jerome has mentioned. And now I do this seminar to present you the working paper that was published in the University of Santiago de Compostela website, that I also publish in the ResearchGate website. Okay, this is the research of the last year that I came to present. I think that was published in Marine Police, just to make a refresh about it. The findings of this study was that, going a little faster, that the bycatch rate in the Indian Ocean was 2.82% of the fishery, and the discard rate was 1.73 of the fishery. That it is relatively low in comparison to other fisheries. And one of the things that was mentioned is that one of the key components for the future management measures was the socioeconomic impact on fish security knowledge. So it was a... Yeah, sorry. I don't know. Okay, yeah, now I think that's okay. So, as I said, one of the key components was the socioeconomic impact. Sorry, can you mute your microphones, please? Thank you. And And then I finished this seminar saying how to continue. What we had the estimated bycatch rates and amounts. We know that most of the landings in the Western Indian Ocean occur here in Seychelles, and we still have the gap of the bycatch economy. Many questions we can do with coming from the vessels or coming from the local processing companies. So where is the value generated, etc. So it's the reason that we started a collaboration between the University of Santiago de Compostela, me, or through this PhD, the University of Seychelles, and SFA. So starting the introduction, as I said, in Seychelles occur most of the port operations, and we can see here in the first two graphs, it's exactly the same. One is in gross and another one is in percentage. And we see that the 90% of the port operations in the West Indian Ocean is here, and the rest is between Madagascar, Mombasa with Kenya, Mauritius with Port Louis, etc. And the other one is just to show that the 25%, 20% of the port operations or the fish stays here, and the 80% is transshipped to another countries. And about all of that is with the SFA data. We see with this data that the catch composition, we see here that almost all is with target catch. I mean, so I did this second graph to show what is the bycatch rates with their data. And we saw that it was under 0.5%, and later in the last years is going up. Closer to the 22%, that is closer to the 2.83% that I mentioned in the of my previous study. So I don't know if it is because of better quality data or I don't know. And the other one is just to show what is the total amount. About the fishing effort is to show that in comparison that I compare between non-Seychelles waters, the total with another, it is measured in number of days. And we see that most of the fish occur out of the Seychelles waters, but it's still very important for in the fishing inside. And taking the measure of the nominal catch per unit, of effort, I mean, of the total fishery, we saw that after 2017 is increased. So it's a more efficient fishery, although in the last year available 2023 has decreased, but still over the previous period. But however, in the second graph, figure 8, we see that taking this measure with the bycatch is going up. So maybe, as I mentioned, maybe because of better quality data of the SFA or whatever. And here is just a comparison between the flags. Spain, well, here is not very clear seen. Spain, France, others, and Seychelles. We saw that the Spanish fleet, it is the most efficient fishery of the flags. And also between non-Seychelles waters and Seychelles waters, the non-Seychelles waters are a little more productive than Seychelles waters. All of that is done with the SFA data. So with materials and methods, just showing the difficulties that I had to take the information in the beginning with the data sources, for example, to have the catch amounts, bycatch amounts, the land and transshipments and employment value chain, and the different sources that it was the paper, the SFA, that it was many different concepts that it was not easy to understand them And then I need to clarify also in the interview data that it was the key. It was difficult to take them. And for example, from the MBS Statistics Center, although it's good information, but for this research is completely invalid because it's very aggregated. And when I ask to provide the disaggregated data, they answer me that it is no, they don't have it. So it was curious because finally, how they aggregate the data then. And MRAC for the employment data, I didn't understand some concepts or numbers that I did completely. From my knowledge, I think that they are a little, or what I was not understanding. But finally, I got through the interviews to different organizations and companies. So first is the first interview was with the FICU, that's the Fish Inspection and Quality Control Unit. Is one of the keys of this study because they provided data on direct exports without processing fish. It was interviewed also the 3 local bycatch processing companies in Seychelles that nowadays are Ocean Basket, Almirant Fisheries, and Island Catch. And also the other key of this study was CCCS, that it is the Central Command Cold Store, because it is the only intermediary cold storage company, and they centralize all the bycatch landings before collection or export by three companies. So as they have all the bycatch landings, it was very much easier to make this, and it was the key of to have all the amounts. So with these interviews, we took data information of profiles, employment, the importance of bycatch, sales channels, processing amounts, purchase prices, volumes handled, processing capacity, and export. And about the location, etc. As you know, as I'm mentioning all the time, this report focuses on analyzing the bycatch supply chain in Seychelles in 2024. Why only 2024? Because it's the only year that we have complete information to more detailed analysis. The objective is to map the bycatch supply chain here in Seychelles, improving a little more the infographic information that we have about this bycatch industry nowadays. And all analysis was made with RStudio. So starting with the analysis, taking mention of the dependence on bycatch of Seychelles, about the processing capacity in 2024, through the information that the local 3 processing companies that they share, in aggregation was 40 tons per day. That's knowing that there is 260 labor days, we estimate that there is an annual capacity of 10,400 tons to process. But they say that in 2024, the volume processed was 336 tons. So it means that there is only the 3.2% of the capacity processed, or in other words, an underutilization of 96.8% of their capacity for process. So the economic importance for them. We know that I'm sorry, that's not very clear on the screen, but it is, okay, it's the 97 almost % of the utilization. The volume from bycatch that they utilize is 95% of as average, with 2 response of the 3 companies. But the value from bycatch is as an average the 50%. So it means that 5% of that is not bycatch is also providing the other 50% of their economy. maybe because, for example, another fisheries like longliners or whatever. About employment, the employment in the processing companies, here is almost the 47.6% of it is of local men. The 11% is of local women, and the rest, the 41%, is foreign men in 2024. In the intermediary companies, that is CCCS, the 60% is foreign men, and the rest is between local men and local women. But it is very interesting to see the evolution of CCCS. That's in the beginning, they were the 60% locals. In the next year was a little less. In 2023, it was 50-50, and in 2024, it is a little higher, the foreign men. So it's a thing to analyze the reasons that it is making difficult for them to hire local or whatever. The composition of landed species that landed in CCCS, that remember that they centralize all the landings of bycatch. We see that bycatch tuna is the biggest group with the 78%, with 2,396 tons. And it's important to mention that it includes separate tunas and target species tunas. Why I say target species tunas as bycatch? Because although it is a species, maybe the size is not interesting for them. So finally, it is a bycatch. So they are. It's also in the same group. And followed by the next group is other bony fish, which includes dorados, barracudas, wahoos, this kind of fish. The 20% with 2,169 tons. Billfish species with 76 tons and in a very small tonnage, 7.8 tons sharks. That obviously it's an error that I had. For example, I mean the fishers when they fish, they try to release all the sharks that they fish. But if you don't see in any moment one that is going with in the middle of the tuna, so it's already another studies that analyze that. I mean, just mentioned that. So later, comparing these landings that I mentioned with the direct exports, it's the data of the FICU. We see that the 90.6% of all the landings are directly exported. Depending on which group is different. So we see that in the tuna, the 97.7% is exported, followed by other bony fish with 64.1, etc. Okay, so we see that with the answers, what we have here, that with this, comparing the CCCS data and the FICU data, the export is 90.6%. And through the answers from the local industry of the three companies, it is the 93.3. So it's very close. It's good. And also, for example, their data from the industry can include some already processed fish that make a little higher. Anyway, it's very close. So it's we can consider that the answer from the industry were true and well. So which means that only the 6.7% of the bycatch stays here locally. And knowing where is this bycatch going, we see that almost the 50% of the bycatch that stays here locally is sold as bait. Later is the hotels and restaurants, followed by their own market. We know that some of their companies, they have their own shops. and later in less percentages between wholesalers, supermarkets, etc. But it is very interesting to see that 50% it is sold as bait. And as a waste during the processing, they say that very low, and another one will be around the 12% of the fish. So on an average between them is 6%. But for my analysis, I took the highest. So yeah, I took the 12% because it finally is only two answers. So okay, starting with the supply chain that we wanted to map, knowing or cross-referencing all this information between the FICO, CCCS, and local companies, the processing companies. Okay, first step, we know that CCCS has had these amounts, 10,650 with these groups. Billfish, Bycatch, Tuna, other bony fish, blah, blah, blah. With the FICO, we know that was already directly exported 9,653. We remove it, and then we have that local stays 1,000 tons of Bycatch. Of these 5,000 tons, we saw that 47.8%, I think that it was more or less, was sold as bait. And I know that most of the bait is tuna, because it's more they bleed more, so it's interesting for the another fishers that utilize this fish as a bait. But removing this, making the difference of each group, I didn't have enough amounts, so I had to go to share with other bony fish, which is possible to be true with the wahoos, etc. Okay, so knowing that it was that amount, almost the 50%, as non-bait it stays results 520 tons. And we know that only, well, it was processed 336 tons. So, well, non-processed was 183 tons that they can sell it like just the fish and full fish for the restaurants maybe, or I don't know. And knowing that the processing, it is a waste of 12%, I consider the highest response. So it's 40 tons, and the final product is almost 300 tons of final product processed. Okay, so the highlights of this information, we know that employment in 2024 was 208 people in these 4 companies, and 51.44% is local. But we have to aggregate also the indirect industry that they work in that. For example, the transports or even the people that is selling it in the shops or whatever. The 90.6% is direct exported through the data between the CCCS and FICO versus the 93.3 that was with the industry answers. So we consider that it's good. 6.7 local industry, and almost 50% was sold as bait. Volume processed was 336 tons. That it means that 3.2 of their capacity and under utilization of 97%. The final product was almost 300 tons. That it is that all of that. It is the 95% of the volume that of their business, but it is the 50% of the value. And just making a easy calculation that to knowing that finally is food, the resulting meals, considering that it is 100 grams per meal or 200 grams, if it is 100 grams per meal, it is almost 3 million meals that it is being provided. And this is all the information that was showed in this working paper, but and also it was going to include in the FIT report, but finally in the university website it was not published on time apparently, and then it was not included. So how to continue? I want to do also an analysis of a perception comparison analysis between the industry, the local people, the tourists, the administration, and the supply chain. Just to know, because we know that Bycatch is normally or commonly we heard that it is a bad thing. But maybe another people thinks that is just food. So make an analysis comparing that. It will be interesting. See which final products are. Quantify the value of the supply chain. And I want to ask you how, because we only have the final prices. We can go to I already have the data, for example, going to the supermarkets or the shops, taking which prices they have. But okay, we can estimate what is the value of the value chain taking this price, but it is not true, because finally in the middle of the steps, finally is another value is being aggregated in each step. So I want to ask you ideas for estimating the intermediate chain value. If you know any data source or whatever, because finally the local processing companies is not going to share this data. It's very obvious, it's their business, and there are only 3 here, and they want to compete, obviously. Cross-referencing data, including customs data, I would like to have the data and then include it to make it more data provided. And also it will be nice to establish a monitoring system to have this analysis every year and be included in the FIT report that finally is the fishing industry importance that Seychelles has. About the quantities, employment, economy, and food. And well, it's just to show what is the benefits of this analysis, that is map the value chain, as I was trying to do, identify the opportunities for the competitiveness also in export, transparency, resiliency, and competitive, as PT report will be to be included, that kind of analysis. Understand the economic role of Bycatch. That is very important, I guess, because, as I said, it is normally we think it is bad considerations of, but maybe it's an available full supply and it is food to many people. 3 million meals that we were calculating. Design this monitoring system that I was trained to track, improve, and optimize the industry and support employment and local livelihoods. We saw that it is like a trend of to hire more foreigners each year. So it will be nice to identify why the reasons and try to improve or to incentivize to be hired, local people or be hired. Foster collaboration with NGOs and the stakeholders. All of us, researchers, industry, and NGOs are part of all the system, and assess perceptions of food safety in the local economy. And this is all. Thank you.
Presentations for items I swear that there are questions or comments in the audience. Maybe we can start with people present and then we can line the
Yep.
question. Is there any question here in the audience?
Questions and comments.
Yes.
I think it's very unfortunate that we cannot get disaggregated data from the National Bureau of Statistics.
Yeah.
Because you cannot follow the trends at all. And for the exports, we have everything is put together.
Yeah.
Fresh fish, top quality food, tuna, bycatch, and all of this just goes together. And it's terribly difficult for government to use these statistics for any policy decisions.
Yeah, completely.
And I think unless this problem is addressed, then really we're gonna even make use of that data.
Yeah.
And yet it's extremely important to focus on what are the sectors that needs to be helped, or assisted, and so on. I don't know whether it benefits some that it's a bit in a mess.
Yeah.
But I think it's for the government or those ministries or organizations.
Yeah, I think that it's important to make the industry part of that and request to this statistics center and to the government to do that, because finally this kind of analysis it's to improve their business as well. And then if they see in that way, maybe because finally in my interviews, it was very difficult to have the information, and it is completely normal because they are afraid to, okay, so how are you using this information? But if they see that real benefits for them and are real showing transparency, and this is well taken, finally all the people can they want to be part, and then request to the government or the statistics center to do that, to desegregate the data, and yeah, but it is a pain finally, and nobody win with. Yeah.
Anything in any of the fisheries acts and regulations or that obliges the fishers, the people in the industry, to provide this certificate to them. Maybe that's one of the biggest problems. From what I have seen so far, I don't know for instance, there are no obligations for these people in the industry to provide a bit in their certificate form.
Yeah, yes, what I will not make a definite comment, but I think that basically the legislation is such that government can have some.
And it has to be made into a requirement.
Yeah, that's right. Complying with certain fishing agreements, the fishing companies have to provide it. But all this is a question of who is interested in getting the data? In other words, I think the law is such that the stakeholders can be requested. But I don't think there is an interest, and it's a bit unfortunate that the authorities don't really follow that process. And even if they were to follow that process, it's important that they have the staff to do it.
You think there is the interest?
Yeah, this is my feeling. I may think it'll be wrong, okay? And I would like to make a back in my statement. But I think so from the Acevedo or the industry what's the question?
But if we're talking about sustainable development, for goodness sake, this is the sort of innovation, sort of data must
If it is aggregated in any step, should be disaggregated, you know. But maybe for any reason, maybe as a request in the past of the industry or I don't know what, it's not been completely disaggregated, publicly disaggregated. But for sure, if it is aggregated, in any step should be disaggregated. I request that information to the NDS, but they say that they don't have it. Anyway.
Small level one. We all know that there's a lot of consumption of samosas. And a lot of samosas are made from fish. And it's 100% certain that most of the fish samosas come from Bycatch. It's not problem about that. But it's very difficult to get any information about who makes samosas. And yeah, sorry, quite interesting and useful.
Yeah.
Has access to provide detailed information in terms of the species, but sometimes, like example, the industrial normal, most of the times the values I don't think it is Seychelles. So we take information from the vector company, and sometimes it's the tool that needs to be trained to identify the species so that they can provide the information. So sometimes it's not only, you know, it's the authority, but the crew, the vector owners, all this, we need to work together. But this is something that we are also we do like trainings, especially the same industrial, we have the foreign group. We need to train and qualify different sharks, species, you know. Yeah, language is an issue, but we know that well. That you know,
But then we have this conversation with Bonita on this, that they do perform these meetings with the crew. They have the booklets in whatever language the crew speaks. So I think there's still some gaps between what the government collectors being collected by government and what the private sector. So there seems to be some disconnect between the two to actually get the information. Because again, even I'm glad you mentioned it in the report. We have mentioned in our report these issues of the information, especially provided by NBS, and we did make a recommendation in the last LMS meeting to meet with NBS to figure out what the issue is, why we can have this data. So we are planning to have a meeting with them. I think they're also doing a yeah, it's on my to-do list, so we have been pestering them, but it's a holiday. But yeah, this is something where we're planning to have a proper discussion with them, and then they're also having what's called a survey, a CES here. Economics and economy, but they are doing a pilot study. So we will be studying it.
Okay, nice.
But very nice. I think everything stems from, do we take this industry seriously? Do we think it is important?
Yeah.
If we do really think it's important, then we have to give the means or the capacity to be the university, be the SFA, to have staff to be able to do that work. You need economists, you need statisticians, you need fishery scientists, and so on. But I think that it begs the question: do we take it? That is really important.
Yeah. Just to note it finally. Yeah, this study finally tried to do the importance also of all the fish that is fished.
So does yes buy this bycatch or
No, they just store.
They keep record of how much they sell.
They don't sell any. They just store the fish. I mean, for sorry,
No cost.
I don't know the cost.
They don't sell it.
Yeah.
You give me your fish, I sort it out, and I charge them
For that period, yeah.
The fish suppliers, they pay CCS to store their fish for a certain time.
In the beginning, yes. When the vessels offload all the fish goes there. Is the best the first step. That's why it's the key of this study also, because we know that it is the 100% of the bycatch fish is here.
And the fish belongs to the company that has dropped the
Hello.
fish. that
Exactly.
landed the fish.
Yeah. For example, each vessel or each company, fishing company, I mean, they have commercial relationships with the three local processing companies, say Merit Fisheries, Ocean Basket, or Island Catch. It depends on which vessel or whatever.
So from CCS, you can only have tonnage, but no monetary value. Monetary value might come from the local companies that want to disclose the rate at which they buy it. That's the- But you can find the final price here,
Yeah.
but you've got that gaps. You can find
The numbers.
price paid.
Yeah, with that, I can estimate what is the value of that. And then of the until here. As late, maybe I can get it. But later, so having that, I can get this, but not that. Then the total I don't have.
But here, from the customs, you can get the declared value of the fish that is exported. Because normally when they
you can. But it's available, but it's not available.
Exactly. Exactly. It is. In fact, I'm trying to have the information from the customs, but it's getting difficult. We just have well, I don't know what the name is. The customs that is near to the commercial port. It's here or no? I guess it should be in the customs, the revenue commission,
Tax they collect if you don't get the value. Then you can go back to the value by making the assumption that a certain percentage of this value is collected as a tax.
Yeah.
So maybe the way of bridging the gaps is to look at what is the tax collection from the exported fish, provided that this exported fish is not coming from the artisanal fisheries, but is coming from the bycatch.
Yeah.
You have to maybe to do another branching from here and to see how much fish is exported from the bycatch compared to how much fish is exported from the local semi-artisanal fisheries.
Yeah, it depends also in the codes that the customs have also. Yeah, completely. Yeah. It's here to people. Yeah, I am hearing wait or something. Selwyn Edmund. Selwyn. Yeah, I'm going to mute. It's not possible. Selwyn, do you want to talk because it's your Now, yes, I guess. And before Gonzalo, I think that he had the hand. If you want to talk, Gonzalo. Left.
Okay. Is there any question online from online participants? Please raise your hand and we can. Selwyn, we can't hear you speaking if you're speaking. Maybe you can you can mute yourself and ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Do you have a question, Selwyn?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Sergio. I do have a couple of questions. With regards to the data collected, I believe you have only data from the Purse-Seine fishery. Is that correct?
From the Purse-Seiners, I didn't collect any information. I collect from the CCCS, the FICU, and the local processing companies.
Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is that data that you've collected obtained from the Purse-Seine fishery only, and not the longline fishery.
No, only Purse-Seine.
Okay, I believe this data is also available for the longline fishery from the SFA. I mean, it is a requirement.
I'm 100% sure, but this study is just focused in the tuna Purse-Seiners.
Okay, understood. And with regards to the employment, the number you indicated there, 208 people. If you could give a brief breakdown, what is that number consist of, please?
Well, it was the answers from them. So sorry. Yeah, right.
Yes.
So you say how consistent are these data? It was their answers. It is the three local processing companies and CCCS is no more. It would be nice to include also all the indirect industry, like for example the agencies, the transports, etc. Yeah.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is that the number is quite low when compared to the number of people involved with the logistics of getting the bycatch off the boats into containers, delivered to the processors or the cold storage. I think.
Now you're
Hello?
Yeah, completely true. That's why I'm mentioning that it is only included the three processing companies. It is Amirant Fisheries, Ocean Basket and Island Catch, and also CCCS. It would be nice to include all the people that works in ports with the logistics, transports, etc. That's completely true. But this study wanted to focus on specifically in what it is the key. This work is straight with that. But yes, completely true. If we want to have a big picture of all the fishing industry, we will have to include that. Sure.
Yeah, agree. And with respect of the export data, I heard you mentioning earlier, we've been keeping these data as a shipping agency, ensuring that our clients the ship owners comply with customs declarations and requirements. We've been keeping this data since 2022. And I mean, for the next round of analysis is if there's one, perhaps you should also consider consulting with us. We have a lot of data that we can share, a lot of information as well that we think is or would be beneficial to improve the data quality of this report.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you, Sergio.
He's saying that it would be nice to share this information before with them to compare because finally they have many data also, and to improve the data that is included in the analysis. Yeah, he's Selwyn Edmund. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay, thank you, Selwyn.
Gonzalo has a question.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, Sergio.
Hello.
So well, first thanks for showing this work. Very interesting. I have one first question. I have a couple of questions. The first one, so you're all the time talking, if I'm not confused, you're all the time talking about retained bycatch. So the bycatch that for any reason the companies decided, the producers decided to retain and bring into port and land. Do you have an idea of what percentage of the bycatch is actually landed or retained, in order to understand if there is an opportunity, in all these bycatch that is not retained and is thrown back to the sea?
Yeah, it depends on the data source. Sure. For example, in the first publication that I did, and it was published in Marine Police, it was the 1.79% was of the bycatch. Sorry, of the. Well, no, it's not. It's another data, but. Yes, we can do it. It depends on the data source. For example, in the of the SFA data, or also only the CCCS, and get all the for example, the fish that they have. It has been caught from all the fleets. It could be difficult to get it. Anyway, yes. I agree.
But I mean, do you have an idea of what this retained bycatch represents? I don't know if you have direct information from the Purse-Seine's fleet or from observers' data that can actually bring you that information. Is it actually relevant, the percentage of bycatch that is landed, or you don't have any reference on how big the landings are compared to the real bycatch?
All the bycatch that it is not unprotected species, for example, sharks, turtles, etc., that they are released. All the rest, they keep it.
Okay.
Because finally, it's also, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that there is a measure, well, depends also for sure of the flag of the vessel, but in the European Union, for example, they have the discard zero regulation.
Yeah, okay. I'm asking this, Sergio, because when doing a value chain analysis, it's always relevant to find gaps and opportunities, no? And a lot of the times it happens that some species are thrown away and could be actually used and could be actually processed and sold to some countries, but for different reasons, the companies decided to throw it back to the sea. generally because of storage capacity on board or any other reasons. And another comment. So you're doing a value chain analysis. I understand this is the beginning, no, of the study in terms of this value chain. And basically, I'm saying this because, well, of course, the most important thing when doing a value chain analysis, besides understanding all the steps, who sells to whom, no, and where the product ends up, is to determine the value, no. You've done quite a good job in determining the volumes, but there is a relevant gap in understanding the values. It's always more difficult, as you said. Nobody wants to openly talk about how much they make, no. But I'm not sure if you have actually asked everybody in the process how much they sell the product and how much they buy the product for. Because generally, when doing a value chain analysis, you find gaps. Sometimes one processor, one step in the chain doesn't want to reveal the values, you know.
Yeah,
but
it is a. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Sergio.
No, it is only that I asked that. Also about the cost to take measure of what is the value generated in each step, but finally it is very dangerous for them to share this information because it's we are in a competitive system, in the capitalism system. And then they don't want to share that information, and I completely understand that. It's their business, and if they want to make profitable each or on each sales channel or each step, it's share that would be
So I understand. There's always some reluctancy, but it's strange that you did not get any value, no. And I would I don't know. I would recommend you because some of the values could be estimated, no, based on other information. I assume that, for example, and especially the best you know the value chain and all the actors in between, the more chances that you have not to get the values, because most of the time the actors are not confident to share information on how much they sell the product for, but they are more likely to say how much they buy the product for the previous actor in the value chain, no. So both questions should be asked, and you have more chances to get an answer in each of them, and then compare to the others. And especially in this case, for example, you can always get the last the value at the end of the value chain, which is the price the products are sold for in supermarkets or places where the public can buy, no? Because you can just go yourself and check the prices if they are not willing to tell you. So just a moment.
Thank you.
So and also from the vessels, no? Generally the vessels are open to say, well, because it's probably not very relevant for them, for the producers, for the Purse-Seines, compared to the target species, which is most likely is the highest income for them. They are likely to show that to share that information. And if not, if nobody wants to give you the values, there are other possibilities, no, other approaches like asking for ranges. So you sell these in between this range of money, in between this other range, and you have some understanding of what they are selling. If they are selling, I don't know, bony fishes, and you know what species are, you might have some understanding of the value of those species. So you can ask for the interviewee to answer in between ranges, no? ranges of values. So if they don't want to disclose the specific number, or ask them about aggregated information. No, if they don't want to give the precise value, well, at least give me some aggregated data of all the species together. And also, when you're talking about exporting companies, the Ministry of Economy should have that information, because they have to have the amount of tuna that has been exported and the value of that tuna. So that's another potential source of information for you to keep filling the gaps in this study.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, completely.
Notice. In nearly 95% of the bycatch, which is produced here, is exported. And it's true.
Yeah, but sold as bait.
No, the bycatch that is exported. 94%, okay?
Yeah.
94%. The rest, half of it is sold as feed.
Of this is yeah. The 50% of this is yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, there is very little value addition in Seychelles. So there's very little,
Yeah.
let's say, addition or contribution towards food security.
Yeah.
So there's a huge possibility in the future to
Process more.
process more.
Yeah, because we know that it was only used the 3.2% of their capacity, you know, and there is much more quantities to process.
And we still don't know, because the statistics are all mixed together. We still don't know the value of that bycatch which is exported.
Yeah.
We don't know it.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask, you said that there's a lot of competition, and the processing companies do not want to disclose their buying and selling rates, but they are working at 3% of their entire capacity. Is the 96 or 97% matched at their company side, or are they just working less than 10% of their full capacity?
No idea. But that
What other type of fish are they processing if it's not the bycatch?
longliners, for example.
Lines.
Yeah. I
It'd
get.
be interesting to see how much this contributes to longliners, because they probably sell the same price as longliners.
And also local semi-industrial fisheries, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
It depends on the company, finally. Yeah.
as it says, there seems to be a means valuing more bycatch to lower the pressure on the artisanal fisheries. And make more ease a little bit the resistance from that pressure.
Yeah.
If pressure there is, because we are not sure if it's pressure where the local resistance.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there any more questions online or comments? No? Is there any more comments?
Gonzalo has.
Oh, Gonzalo has raised his hand, yes.
You're mute, Gonzalo.
Okay, and now just a final quick question. Do you know which countries this bycatch is sold to?
I don't know which specific countries, but for sure it depends on which species. But of my knowledge, I know that a lot of fish or this kind of fish is very valued in Western Africa. for example, Côte d'Ivoire, you know, what is the
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, yeah.
Mhm.
Ivory Coast or Ghana, I guess, these kind of countries where there also are many Purse-Seiners there in the Atlantic. Maybe it's a destination.
Okay. Okay. Again,
There
the
is
Ministry
several
of
studies
Economy
about it also.
Yeah, the Ministry of Economy can actually, well, can probably give you that information. And if not, you also have, well, international databases on commerce, FAO and other institutions has, that you can actually see how much Seychelles is exporting to which countries, how it is exported, frozen or whole or fillets or whatever, and the prices. So that could also be a source of information to understand, better understand the value chain in terms of
Yeah,
of
with the
value.
prices and amounts, you already get the value for sure. But finally, each company will sell their fish with different prices, and maybe they don't want to share, because if finally they see in the reports that the average is lower or higher than theirs, they would feel maybe they would feel only being 3 companies is very sensible data for them.
No, but this is why I'm saying that in these databases, you don't depend on them. It's international databases, and you have the values, well, sometimes per species, depending if it's a well-known species, and some of the tunas, maybe you actually get the value per species, or maybe, well, if not, at least aggregated. But you can check where is Seychelles exporting to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Which organization, sir? Okay, nice.
But it's not published.
No, but you will also send in an email or conversation.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, because what I understood from them is that they only have the volumes. They only certify the volumes of. Yeah. But in value, you say?
The volume, yeah.
No, the value. No, exactly. I already have the volumes from them. It was one of the keys of this study, but not the value. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergio. If there's no more question from our online audience and no more question or comments, oh yes, so.
Yes.
Sorry?
Some flyers, like to condense some information. No, we really good.
Yeah,
For people
sure.
to get the information.
Sure, you can. Yeah. Also, the working paper is published and everything, so yeah, for sure you can.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need more science to community communication to maybe make people a little bit more talkative about that and to ask questions. And people might react to that.
Yeah, we need just like a small like poster file. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get people to read reports. We've had that issue, people don't read our reports. So it's fun. But yeah, if you can put them in a flyer, maybe you can post it on the university website, or even easy to share.
Yeah.
If you are, it'd be really great.
Yeah, for me, I am happy for that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we can distribute that through our social media just as a highlight.
Okay.
And if people have comment, they can come back to us.
Yeah, sure.
That's a wonderful.
So since you have studied it's about value chain, so under the side of fish, we did prepare a report on the development of Seychelles seafood sector value chain. I don't know if you have a copy of it.
I guess so, but it's.
It was prepared by in 2018.
Yeah, I think so, but it was not very detailed about the bycatch. That's why I didn't. But yes, it's very, very good. now we have to work now more in the bycatch because finally it is only the 2% more or less of the fishery. Less value. It's as we were mentioning, it is not interesting in any way. But finally, I want to see it in a food way, and finally we have to analyze it. Because finally, here only in Seychelles, only processing the 3% of the capacity, it is already 3 million meals in the year.
So how,
Sorry?
but he hasn't shown what happens with this waste, but I do suspect that some of this waste is going to the pellets and the production of animal food. Is it?
I don't know. I don't know, sorry.
Yes, on the left, I think it was that video or something, they were just dumping the fish in a hole.
Same as the bones of the meat, and same as, but it is any food we have this kind of waste.
For example, to look at, we are used to say that Seychelles consumers are eating about 60 kilograms of fish per person per year. So how much this waste represents and could represent from the intake?
But it is waste in the sense of the fish bones, huh?
Yeah.
And
So it's not only proteins, but how much proteins there is in the waste. That
Well,
could
waste.
be used to feed the population, for example.
But most of it is exported.
Yeah.
Some data like this, that would be interesting.
Yeah, or final uses of another uses or alternatives for the waste. But as a food, I don't think so. In the sense that finally we don't eat fish bones or the head.
Because I through your data, I see a lot of room for more fish processes or fish processing companies.
Yeah.
If there were.
Or fertilizer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to do fertilizers, to do pellets for chicken or things like this.
Yeah, completely.
There's a lot of
Oh, the ocean fertilizer. I've actually used it, so it's pretty good.
Yes, but you need to get enough support.
Yeah.
Another industry in Seychelles.
It still needs to upscale, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, all of you that you are attended.
See you next year for another run.
I would like, yes.
Thank you very much to the online audience, and yeah, see you at another time for another occasion. Thank you very much to you all. We can continue this discussion outside if you want.
Thank you. Bye.